Thank you guys so much for taking the time to come out. First and foremost, hope everyone enjoyed their weekend. We have our week starting out here with the team from Falcon X. FALX is the ticker symbol. They launched on Solana May 17th after they successfully raised, I believe it was 2,167 Solana. I don't have the Pinksale up, but I saw it late last night. So again, pretty impressive, larger starting market cap than a lot of the projects we've seen, especially coming out of Pinksale lately. So they were doing something right in their marketing and their lead up. And we'll kind of spend the bulk of the AMA breaking down what they were, what they're building, how that relates back to the token holders. And for me, what Falcon X is, it's a new DEX that's kind of building up on the Solana blockchain, focus on speed. You'll see it a lot of the times if you're on their website, their white paper, if you're checking out their Twitter, the fastest lightning DEX on Solana. Quick UI. I haven't personally put through a trade there on it, but I'm hoping throughout the AMA or maybe after, some of our community members will be able to jump in there, utilize the tech, and give us some feedback, because that's the way that you want to see it done. So I know they're still super early, as I mentioned, only 10 days old, but they have been building for a while. So they have some additional rollouts and improvements coming to their decks. I know they're going to be working on kind of updating their white paper as well, from what I've been led to understand. So excited to have you here, Matt. I know this is still very new. You guys have been, seeing some good success in the early stages. You didn't see that pre-sale dump that happens a lot of the times, especially after a raise that big. So again, you've been doing something right. We're here to kind of highlight, what that is and learn a little bit more about the utility and the token all together here today. So excited to have you. I will go ahead and throw you the mic. And one last time, this is Matt representing here from the team at Falcon X.
Thank you, Maurice. Thank you for that. Yeah, it's great to be here and talk about Falcon X. It's our baby, it's our DEX. And yeah, we can get into all the nuts and bolts of, what it is as a project. And of course, with the community right behind us. So yeah, did you want to
just with more of a personal intro? That would be terrific.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, of course. So yeah, a bit about myself, a bit of background. I've, been in the DeFi space since, 2019. Actually got into a little bit of crypto mining, bit of Ethereum mining, had my whole rumpus, which is where the pool table is, just filled with, graphics cards, or GPUs as you call them. And it got a little bit heated in here, say the least. The wife, liked it in the winter, but not in the summer. So sort of had the, Ethereum, 2.0 was coming out. So sold up shop, so to speak. Got into DeFi. What else would you do as a degen? You get into DeFi. Absolutely. That's what I did. Yeah, some projects were running, some not so much, and just, exposure with those projects. Started a little bit of YouTube myself. Don't have as many followers as you do, Maurice, but working on it. So yeah, just got into that, and then, got together with, like-minded people, and, who else better to make a project than yourself? Something that you can trust, and build pretty much from the ground up. And that is, the whole meaning behind Falcon X FALX. So it's built from the ground up, and community involved all the way through. So that's the background for myself.
If you want something done right, do it yourself. So I love that approach you decided to take.
100%. So yeah, exactly what we've done. You spoke about the pre-sale. It was an amazing pre-sale. You do, you expect a bit of drawback, but there was nothing. So being utility as well does really help. So because we do have that utility, people can see the roadmap, what we're building, what's in the future, keeping the community informed, updates. And then on the other side, marketing, so important. Of course, this, and a lot of people listening, of course, marketing's important. Sometimes people think you can do more marketing, but we did that. We exactly did that. So things that the community didn't see, we were marketing in the background. So might, at times you might think, hey,
And I
there's
actually have a question for you, Matt, because this is a
sure.
conversation and a topic. Sorry to cut you off, but this is something I've been talking to a few people about who are pretty active, work full time in the space, about how maybe the last 45, 60 days, the shift from memes or from utility, which, kind of when the big, pump happens, what was it, around October, November last year, when we started seeing that positive sentiment come back into the market that carried us into 2024, it was utility projects that were by far kind of leading the way. We were seeing a lot of these new AI and whatever the meta was of the month or the time kind of pop up and run 100, couple hundred million. But we've seen the last 45, 60 days or so, the shift has been straight memes. So my question is, like, how, as a utility play on a network that's necessarily known not for its utility projects, were you able to do such a good job in the raise? Because if you look at the socials or the Twitter, you guys only have about 65 posts out. So it's not like you were, spamming the marketing from the more reach driven platform, which is X, right? So, I mean, very impressive stuff, but it's one that I saw it and I was like, damn, I got to ask him that. It's an outside the box question. I don't think I've ever asked something like this, but it's very fitting for the time.
That is a really good question. And really, to answer it quite simply, is just being fully transparent, letting the community know what we have, what we're going to do, and actually doing it. So that's the main, reason for the success, I'd like to think. And of course, the team as well. So just the team, the marketing behind it, having those connections. It's important to have those connections, because you don't know, if you're going to do some marketing, is it going to be effective? So just knowing that you're going to do marketing and it's actually going to have results is a plus. You're not throwing away any, crypto in the process of trying to get that, marketing that gets somewhere. So just, having that, we've actually have fully supportive community, just getting right behind us the whole way. So, and just involving the community as well, Maurice. It's been crazy. It's been crazy. I mean, a lot of
950 initial contributors, and your holder count's grown pretty nicely since your launch 10 days ago. So like the adoption or the buy-in seems to keep happening. And I did allude to it a bit in my intro, is a lot of the times with these larger raises, you do see a pretty drastic sell-off within the first 24 hours, but you guys didn't really experience that phenomenon. So yeah, like definitely something was being done right. You guys, the people who bought in are holding and giving you guys some time to, at least at this stage, find your footing, which is good.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you're talking about meme tokens, it's a totally different beast with the utility token. And I don't know, I think the shift is kind of shifting back to utility, but maybe it's not. Maybe it's just Falcon X. But yeah, just the support is amazing. And I mean, definitely, I'm sure we'll get into it. Our goals, for the future moving forward, very ambitious, but we're, working on getting to phase 2 of many phases to come. So it's exciting. I'm excited about it. So I'm sure the community is, excited about it as well.
Yeah, no, and I mean, definitely the chart. I mean, the way that things are progressing in the early stages, definitely excitement to be had. So makes sense that they are kind of functioning and pushing the way that they have been. Now, the other question I wanted to throw to you before we really kind of deep dive the nitty gritty, the utility and everything you're building there at Falcon X is, it may come off as a bit of a more standard question, which I typically don't like to do, but there's a bit of a reasoning behind it. So why Solana? And the reason I ask that is because, a lot of the times people don't really understand the utility plays on that blockchain. I feel like the education has been a little bit lacking. It's been very, very meme focused. So what's like the reasoning behind that chain? Is it because what you're seeing in terms of volume and usage is a lot of transactions? Just kind of trying to pick into your
Yeah.
brain on why that chain
Well-
versus maybe base or some of these other hyped ones we're seeing. I'm not a fan of base personally, just to
Neither am I.
showcase. There's good projects on base, but as a
Yeah.
top down, there's too much centralization and links to stuff that I wouldn't want to have on there. That's all.
Yeah. Yeah. I understand totally, but yeah, I wouldn't, wouldn't choose base either. But it's pros and cons. The main reason, of course, is exactly the volume. So, of course, the volume, making, I think it was like the top 4 chain in volume. So the meme tokens just taking over. So you go onto Pinksale and all you see is all these meme tokens, and it was quite interesting seeing us trend, number 1, like for a long time on Pinksale against all the other memes. So that's utility, right? That's the power of utility. But yeah, the main reason we have chosen Solana is it's super fast. It's really, really fast. I think it handles like 2,000 plus transactions per second or whatever it is, and the fees super cheap. So that's why the memes are on Solana. It's so cheap. So most of the tokens have 0 tax because Falcon X has 0 tax as well. No tax. So the tokens don't have any tax. Where if compare to BSC, Binance, you probably have a little bit of tax on tokens. So yeah, predominantly, but yeah, no tax. And the main reason, of course, is I know you don't want to have it like this is a business mindset. It's a utility token, it's a project, it's a DEX. But if you wind back and you do have to put your business cap on, definitely when doing a project like this, there's market share out there. So Radium, Jupiter. So that's one of the main reasons. You find a gap in the market, you jump in there and you grab it. So that's where we're at.
And I always kind of ask, I mean, you don't have to have the answer necessarily right now, because a lot of the times, especially in the early stage, the teams are working towards, figuring out how to get to what they're trying, what their solution is, or how to add the value they're looking to bring into their space via their utility. But that's really where I wanted to spend my next question before we go the more traditional AMA route and break down the utility and the token and whatnot, is the value or the problem solved. And this is the $1 million question. If I always said if it was that easy to answer, everybody would know how, and projects would all be hitting 100 million, like you never have dips, right? So it's the problem you're looking to solve. So it was a great answer. I love your response. The reasoning for why Sol makes so much sense. But now when you're looking at Falcon X, and you touched on some of the competitors, where do you feel the gap existed for you guys to come in and take some of that market share? And what would you say is like the problem that you guys can solve here at Falcon X compared to some of the other DEXs or solutions that exist? Again, you don't have the answer right away. And if you don't, that's okay. It's kind of that $1 million question. And as you work your way towards finding it out, that's when you really see these projects have staying power.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to answer it. So what problems are we going to solve? So I don't know if you've used Radium. It's slow. I don't like to, put stuff on, other projects, but
it's terrible. I mean, it had that congestion issue. What was it around? That was kind of when the shift happened. I mean, on Sol kind of to base, right, is when the congestion shit happened. So
yeah, exactly.
So you don't have to, Matt.
No, well, I like to think that I'm a nice person, like in that regard. So I'm not going to put shit on, Radium, but in saying that, where we come in is, optimization. So optimize our DEX itself, optimize it for speed, optimize it for, use when you use a case, it's smooth, just being on top of that, listening to the community. That's where we're miles ahead, just listening to the community and providing that, the upgrades, the changes, the implementing of all this from the community. You ask for it, you'll get it. Of course, if it's, fitting to, our direction as a DEX. So outrageous things, of course, we're not going to jump into it. We're going to stick to the roadmap. But yeah, definitely speed, optimization, and gamification that we are bringing out as well. So it's going to be, you know, a wholesome DEX with all of that utility packed all into it. And yeah, a lot of crazy things, a lot of really good things coming in the future. Of course, getting our own Falcon X router, which is very important. So once we have that, we can have 50% of all the fees collected will go to buying and burning of the token. So just, you know, get a bit of that scarcity going with the token itself, and value for the Falcon X token. Because at the end of the day, if you do get into this project, you're going to be a holder of the token. So if it rises in price, everybody's happy. So yeah, having that, having of course the cross-chain bridge. So just implementing all that. And then who knows, the future, we could be listing tokens on, you know, fair launches, launch pads. There's so much direction that we could take, and it will come down to the community, their involvement and where they want, you know, to head as a DEX. So the path for us. So yeah, I mean, Radium, Jupiter, you look at how much market share how much market share is out there between them. It's a lot. So looking at us right now, we've just started. We have just started the journey, and yeah, it's going to be, you know, a massive, massive journey. But yeah, that's what sets us apart. So actually caring about our DEX and caring about the community.
And you had mentioned, you know, in your response to supply. Now, I just want to kind of go through that and the breakdowns on you know, the distribution for everybody. So 10 billion, you know, I believe is your supply, if I'm not mistaken. And then, yeah, just have us, you know, give us a little bit of a breakdown for that. And then for me, the big piece that I want to focus on is going to be on the staking and how you guys are sustaining that over time. Because, you know, a lot of the times projects have that preset amount, but they find it difficult to replenish like their war chest, for lack of a better terms, when it comes to their staking rewards. And once it gets kind of close to the end of the 14%, the value of like the passive income dwindles, and then, you know, the long-term holders often sell off. So it's really important that over time you guys are able to either sustain that via, you know, revenue streams on your utility fees and stuff. So yeah, just wanted to make sure I mentioned that as well when you're going through your answer.
Absolutely. Yeah, if you want to give you a rundown of the tokenomics, so you're exactly right. There's 10 billion tokens in circulation. So you do have, I'll start from the top, you have your staking. So of course, I'll just run over staking, marketing, and airdrops. They're all in multi-signature wallets. So you need 3 people to authorize and confirm and execute those. So obviously you have staking. We need more staking rewards in the staking pool. Then 3 of us, so I'll initiate it, and 2 more people from the team will have to initiate that as well. So that's the extra security that we have, because we can't have them locked in a contract. We need to actually use them. So yeah, it's very unique. The tokenomics, as you can see on the screen share, it's very unique. So staking's 14%. I can come back to that on how that will work. Marketing, 12%. That's to market this DEX. So that's to get eyes on the project, because the more eyes, the more user adoption. Come over and try our DEX out. It's the fastest DEX on the Solana blockchain. Airdrops, that is for a previous project. So that really goes back to a previous project that we had, SolX. So that's airdrops at 7%. So 7% in 30 days from launch. That'll commence, and that'll be 3. So that's 7%. So that'll be 3% every week over 33 weeks. Of course, you had the pre-sale, so that's 30% going out to people for the pre-sale. Liquidity. So we actually had 100% of the liquidity put onto, I'd hate to say the name, but Radium. That's our only option, right, from Pinksale. And that was burnt. So the LP was burnt. So that's awesome. So that means that no one has control of that LP. It's still there, and it just keeps growing. If you do look on, DEX Tools, DEX Screener, it's a thick looking liquidity. So that's the liquidity. And then of course the team is 8.5%. So rewinding back to staking, so that's 14%. I'm pretty sure that's probably over $1 million by now, going off, the percentage there and what the value is now. That is going into staking. So you'll have FALX token. We'll have Tuga. So we actually partnered with a meme token. It's called Tuga Wads. So the partnership there is they'll be staking on our DEX and they'll earn FALX tokens. And then we'll have two stables being USDT and USDC. So the rewards there, 80% for FALX, 50% for Tuga, and 30% for both of the stables. So that is, fees, of course, collected for, staking.
I think that to kind of jump in, Matt, because you mentioned SolX, and I do remember that project, unfortunately, because our private community was kind of investigating when it went down. So I do need before we continue on with the AMA, just to get a little bit of background on exactly what happened, the involvement.
It deserves a little bit more. I just didn't know whether you wanted to dive into it. Of course. So we have a very deep connection with our previous project, and that's the support that we have from the previous project. So we had, in a nutshell, we had a dev who was amazing at his job, but he had other plans. And long story short, he did drain the staking liquidity. And then, so there was a bad actor in the space. And then from there, everyone was in just distraught, as you are if a project goes down and, it's from something like that's happened. I was down myself, of course, because I lost a lot of money. I didn't want to, do anything to do with crypto anymore. I was down and out, and I had people reach out to me, and I know it's deep, but they reached out to me and said, there's a lot of support out there for you. There's a lot of support. We actually can make something of this. And, it then evolved to rising from the ashes like a phoenix. That's what we were, that was us. And then, of course, with anything, it is about your branding and your name. So doing research on the name, then we, got stronger as a community, turning into a story, but stronger as a community, turning into a Falcon. So that's the background. So that's where we will never hide the fact that this has happened to us. And it's important to let people that come in to our community, come into our Telegram, tell them where we've been, tell them what we've been through, and how we are moving forward stronger than what we actually were to start with. And that's where the airdrops are the 7%. And that's the reason for the 30 days as well, Maurice. Give a bit of time, breathing space for the DEX so it can get up and running. And of course, just, look after the previous people that were in that project. And that's hopefully the new investors will look at that and go, you know what? They're looking after their previous investors. That's awesome. And it's only 7% of the tokenomics. So that's the background from SolX.
So I appreciate that. And I think, some of the feedback from our community was that they were using your SolX bot. They mentioned it was still very much in its infancy stages, but they did seem to have, positive feedback about the UI and the speed and everything. So the bot itself, the utility.
We didn't have a bot. Sorry, you might be confusing up to. We just had a DEX. So it was this SolX DEX, Solana X. There was no bot.
They. I mean, it could just be like the way they phrase the utility being a bot versus DEX.
just making that clear. We didn't have a bot. That's fine.
No, it's the same project. I'm just reading the conversation in the private group here about it because we have some very well connected people. They're pretty on top of a lot of the things that happen in the space, and I knew I recognized the SolX name from prior. So when it came up, I immediately pulled up the private group and I was like, I've seen this somewhere, and just, did a quick search and found out the backstory. So I appreciate you jumping into that. I mean, it's tough to see that you guys had a, a bad actor within the ranks, but it's better to get them out now than, if the project were to hit 50 million. When did the exploit officially happen? Like, what were your market cap and like your liquidity and stuff at the time? Just trying to figure out, like,
I think it was heading towards 5 million, but then it dropped down. So I think from memory, I think it was like 300K. It was all that the bad actor would, when I say that's all, that's a lot of money, right? But yeah, it was about 300K.
Yeah, but it's better 300 than a million. Like, that's,
Yeah, I mean, but then
we always say that when something bad happens, you're like, it could have been worse.
Yeah,
like, we've seen way worse in this space. So.
Oh yeah, but turning that into, that is a definite negative. Turning that into a positive. So us as a DEX learning from that, implementing all the security measures, implementing everything. So just evolving and just making sure that we make the right steps and set this up for success. Get the audit done by Solid Proof. So you take those extra precautions, have all the multi-signature wallets. So that's what it's all about. And people can see that, of course. And yeah, we definitely, have that support, and it does drive, that support does drive from the previous project, from previous people that were in it, and they this is what they're building together as a community. You're coming together.
Yeah, and now I don't expect you to have like this number off the top of your head, because it's a bit of a weird one to have, but looking at because you mentioned 7% for the airdrops from the prior project. Now, looking at those individuals or those past holders, did you guys do or look at like a breakdown of how many of the people who were getting airdrops potentially went back in and recontributed to the fair launch on Pinksale, just to maybe increase their position, whatnot? I'm just trying to figure out how many of the initial contributors.
So this will actually need APIs and that to get the data, but the devs that we have can get that data. But that's kind of the reason why as well.
It's kind of more of a me question. I'm a little bit weird when it comes to them, some of the specifics, and I love math and like understanding like percentages
100%.
or holder breakdowns and stuff is really big for me. So the last thing I wanted to we could always chat later about that. I don't need you if the information isn't available right now.
No, all I'm saying is that we will get that data. Yeah, definitely. That's we're going to use the 30 days. The main priority was, of course, to get the DEX out. The next one will be the staking, and then moving straight into the airdrops. So we'll get that data and then let the community know how that's going to, progress moving forward.
The airdrops for the prior holders would be complete.
Yeah, exactly. And then of course airdrops.
And now
for top
when they get the airdrops, is there going to because your staking protocol is going to be live at that point, based on what you mentioned, are you going to require people to stake, or will you guys auto stake those airdrops for maybe 30 days and then they could be claimable, so you don't have that massive flux of people trying to claim and potentially sell off getting linked to that? Because look, it only is 7%. Even if 3% of the 7% sold, that could cause a big enough dip to cause panic, and then we know how this space works. It causes more of a dip, and then then you're kind of
if you're Maurice, if you're talking about a vesting period, I mean it is
in a way, but it's tough because it's an airdrop. So
it's
you
3%
to a sense.
It's actually 3% of the 7%, if that makes sense. So it's not 3% of the total circulating supply. It's 3% of the 7% over 33 weeks. So that's why we have made it that way. So it's not all at the same time. It's spread out. So it's going to have less price impact, so to speak. And of course, if those people would like to sell, they'd like to stake, I'm not going to tell them what they need, what they have to do. That's up to them. So if we will incentivize, of course, to stake, because you get you get extra Falcon X tokens. But if people want to sell at the end of the day, that's totally fine. We're not forcing anything upon anyone. But that's 3% of the 7% over 33 weeks. So it's spread out. Yes, we apologize that it takes a long time, to get roughly, as the calculations that we have gone, was about 25% of what you originally would have had. It's better than nothing. But in saying that, we are doing that to, support the previous, project, people that were holding.
I like that. And yeah, the only other thing I wanted to cover in the distribution tokenomics discussion right now, before we get back into like really the brand and the growth of the utility and like the project, is going to be the distributions in some of those wallets that are in play. I mean, the largest, the 14% being held, I'm going to assume that's the staking contract.
Yeah, that's the staking.
Again, I like to have everything kind of officially broken down and answered during these AMAs. So any other large wallets in play out of, I think there's, 12 or 13 wallets that hold above 4%, above 3%? There was like a good chunk in that top 10. So I was just hoping if you could touch on any wallets in play that potentially aren't linked to the project. That's all.
So yeah, of course we have team tokens. We have some people on the team. 4%. That's my wallet. So I haven't sold anything of that. So you can track that all you want. Anything below that, I do have a couple of people on the team that have wallets as well. But of course, as you have any project, you make sure your team is protecting the chart because they're in the ecosystem itself. But apart from that, yeah, you've got the top ones. So you got staking. You got that's 14%, 12%. That's for the marketing side of the house, and then of course 7%, which is the airdrops. And yeah, the original team token breakdown is 8.5%. So as I said, I have 4%. Haven't touched that. Of course, I'll take some profits down the track, but very sensible, with protecting a chart. Because if someone does sell a large amount, it's going to drop the chart. No one wants that, and I definitely don't want that. So being sensible about it. But all of those top ones are in multi-signature wallets because we do need to use them, and that's the safest place we can have them. So they're in a multi-signature wallet. You have to go through a lot, and it's actually sometimes hard for some people on the team to go, I press the button, it's not working. So yeah, it's very secure. So that's the top wallets, Maurice.
Awesome. Now let's go into the actual DEX, the functionality, how somebody, that's a holder is going to maybe benefit versus somebody who's utilizing the DEX as a non-holder, just, using the DEX, right, as an everyday user. Any benefits somebody's going to see if they're holding FALX in their wallet and connecting to the DEX versus not. Different features that you guys are going to be adding in, what it's like right now, what type of bandwidth you guys are set up to support. This is the fun stuff, right? This is all about the utility, what you're doing, what's to come, features, and how you guys feel you can scale it. So again, now that we're kind of through the more basic and, I guess scene setting, we're going to jump right into what you guys are actually building, the crown jewel here, which is your DEX and how you're going to kind of scale it out. So I guess we'll start with the bandwidth during the early stages. What have you guys been seeing from a testing stage? What types of speeds have you been seeing on your swaps? How are
I haven't looked into the speeds of what we've been getting, but I do know that we've set it up to the fastest. So whatever the fastest is, that's what we have. So that's the plan that we have on, the RPC, the cloud, all the security is added. So even DDoS filtering, everything. So yeah, cloud, DDoS filtering, really super fast RPC. It's got everything. It's turbocharged, definitely. And if we're going to say we're going to be the fastest DEX on Solana, we're definitely going to back that up. So it's got a lot under the hood itself. And in terms of, what do you call it? The data, the how much traffic it's got. I haven't got that answer for you, of course, but all I know is, exactly. We've built it to, be fully ready for like the highest amount of traffic that you can get, that you can bring to it. So that's the whole point.
For me, I'm trying to figure out, like, based on your holder count, how many people have actually utilized the tech, versus how many of your users are non-holders, because that right there kind of creates an opportunity. If 95% of your DEX users are non-FALX token holders, well, that right there is a low-hanging fruit for you to be able to market on the token side. So it's just all about identifying opportunities within the growth process for you guys to save time, save money, because if it's aligns like that, it's easier to kind of sell on. So I appreciate that, and obviously as that information becomes more available and you guys start tracking it or just publicizing it,
so I mean, if
that's
if
a
you're
good
talking,
approach, because that's going to get a
in
lot
terms
more
of
people to
backing
buy
it up, putting the money where the mouth is, definitely, and putting that data out there, 100%. That's a very good idea, Maurice. We'll look into that one. And going back to your question, of course, is what do we offer? I mean, on the DEX itself, of course, you've got the super fast, the swap function. We have upgrades that will be pushed probably in the next half an hour to an hour. We did have it locked in phase 1 just to the tokens that will be staking. That'll actually change. We'll have every single token on the Solana blockchain will be available, so you can swap anything, which is great. So it opens it up to all the tokens. And of course, we'll have staking that is just around the corner. So it's single asset staking that we spoke about. So FALX, Tuga, USDC, and USDT, that'll be available. So just waiting for the audit, the audit that's coming down from Solid Proof. As soon as that's done, make sure it's all secure, all good to go. We'll then make the staking live, which everyone's waiting for. When staking, there's a lot of questions that we get. And that'll be up. So of course, we've got a lot of the next phases after that will be liquidity pools and the farms, and then of course the cross chain, and then the cross chain bridge, and our own router is the ultimate, which is in Q4. If we can do it before Q4, we will definitely move it to Q3. But
and definitely want to make sure, like, you guys are showcasing those statistics and stuff, the speed, and bandwidth usage, because with the fees that you guys are looking at, obviously volume and usage comes in to play when you're looking at like a forecasting perspective, especially for those stakers that are participating, and they're trying to see what they're looking to get paid out, like that stuff's really relevant. And a lot of the times, again, you seem like a really nice guy. You seem like, again, you're working hard, but the way the space is, I kind of myself, you can't buy stuff just because guy's a nice guy, right? So
you've given me some ideas.
A year into the space, I'm a people guy. So if somebody seemed like a good dude, I'm like, I'll throw a little bit of money in, and then you kind of learn the hard way. So what you need to make sure you're doing is just showcasing the numbers, because honestly, you'll stand out over probably 95% of the other projects that exist if you just have that base level of transparency, which is kind of crazy to say, because a lot of the times what we get is these, I don't want to say fluff graphics or fluff mock-ups, but they put, whatever the name of their project is compared to, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, however many the top competitors they're trying to compare. And they say, we got this, they don't have this, or they don't have this, we got this. But they don't have this has been live for a lot of the times, like 6 months, a year. They have millions in volume. So I'm like, yeah, that's cool. You can tell me on a graphic that you're going to have everything that this thing isn't, but they have everything you guys don't from a actual quantitative perspective, which is the volume, the numbers, the fee, the revenues. And that's what's going to foster adoption for newer users, especially on the larger scale. So again, it's just really showcasing and I love what you said, put your money where your mouth is, but if you can do that, you're going to stand out. And it's not even
Yeah.
like you're doing anything crazy. You're just showcasing what the project's doing, but no one in this space does it properly. I got to say that. They're all,
Yeah, look, you've
it's
given me
kind of
some
like
really
they
good
think,
ideas. Yeah.
yeah, they kind of position it based on what they think people want to hear, not based on
Yep.
the numbers or the facts that are actually relevant to the sector that they're trying to go into. So it's very
Yeah.
strange. I'm a weird duck too. So like, you know,
That's fine because I'm
like
I'm competitive as well. And you know, you've mentioning this, it's definitely being listened to. And yeah, I'll be talking to the team in, you know, after this AMA and definitely sort something out. But that's a great idea. And we've got a lot of other ideas as well that we can add, like some like blogs or news pieces on the side as well. But yeah, just to link it back in. But yeah, that's a great idea. And you know, proving with the data, you can't argue with data and statistics. You just can't argue with it.
it's like, you know, numbers don't lie. That's the beautiful. It's a beautiful thing
Exactly
about
right.
math, and honestly, it's why personally I love the blockchain. And the biggest thing I try and tell people who don't understand DeFi or the blockchain or crypto, you know, all my friends and whatever in real life, that just don't get it because they see the one side, the scammy side, the negative side,
Yeah.
because of how the media portrays it. I'm like, honestly, guys, I was like, you think BlackRock and, you know, the Federal Reserve and the Bank of Canada are being transparent and honest with us about
Yeah.
how their money's being spent?
Yep.
I'm like,
and it goes
you
back
guys
to
even
fiat.
know, like,
Yep.
I bet maybe
It doesn't go
5%
back
of the
into crypto.
population
Yep.
even knows
Yep.
what like fractional reserve
Yep.
banking is. So then, like, spinning it back to crypto, it's so many people don't actually understand like what it is on the back end. So yeah, if you guys are able to showcase that, you're gonna make, you know, you're gonna have a little bit more staying power from a brand perspective, because you will be seen more of a thought leader and somebody who's knowledgeable in the space. And if
Yep.
you have that knowledge, people will be more willing to give you time to build versus looking at the chart and saying, ah, chart don't look good, I'm moving on.
Yep. Absolutely.
So anyways, in terms of like the benefits and kind of tying the token back. So if I'm holding that, so say for example, I'm holding, you know, what's a nice soft number, round number, 1 million FALX tokens. What would be some of the benefits I see as a user of your DEX versus, you know, if you're using it holding 0 of your token?
Exactly. Well, of course, you're going to have a token that's going to, you know, grow in, you know, price, of course. As you know, as I did mention at the start, the market share that we can tap into, that's us. So we're a DEX, you know, decentralized exchange on the Solana blockchain. And of course, you'll be able to stake as well. So as soon as the staking is live, you'll be able to earn 80% APR on that, you know, tokens that you have. You can stake it into the DEX and earn passive income on top. And of course, we do have a top 100 FALCS staking rewards as well, which is 33% of the revenue share of the, you know, the small amount of taxes that are on the DEX. 33% every week go to the top 100. So you get extra on top. So that's incentivizing whales as well, because you don't want whales to, you know, buy lots of, you know, your token and then dump it on the markets. So incentivizing them to, you know, stake and want to be, you know, a competition, want to be in that top 100. So yeah, and of course, this DEX itself is being built out in phases. And as I said, this is phase 1. So many more, you know, things to be bolted onto this utility project. So that's why it's the future. The future of this project is why you would want to, you know, have those tokens in the first place.
So if you're in the top 100, have you guys done any, you know, soft forecasting on what they could expect to receive based on where you guys are at right now from volume?
It was about 22,000 from memory from the previous project. which we did do top 100. And their volume was, not even close to what we're, doing right now. So yeah, it's going to be, a decent number.
And it's paid out monthly, right?
Every week. Every week.
Weekly. So is
So
that
you say
22,000 weekly that you were looking at, or is that 22
that was
a month?
that was 22,000, which was 50%. So we're going 33%, but we've got more volume, right? Because we need to, be sustainable. So we've got other places where it's, feeding back into the staking rewards, the usual that you do with tokenomics, to feed back into your ecosystem to keep it running. And then, of course, 33% will be going to those top 100, which, looking at the volume, the previous project was about 22,000. That was 50%. And as we're a larger volume, you can just imagine what those numbers would be.
Oh, that makes sense. Now, people are probably listening like, what is Maurice? Why is Maurice asking these questions? I don't get it. But the reason I asked is I'm trying to figure out what the break-even point would be for somebody who bought in. For example, if you buy in for that $1 million, I don't know what the cost would be. I'd have to pull up the chart and look at the 1 million times whatever the price of each token is right now.
Probably
find my
$900.
cost. Yeah, so I'm pretty much just trying to see what the break-even mark looks like for somebody who bought in, and when they could just get their money back off of staking alone. Because when you're comfortable and kind of baseline when to expect you're going to break even, you can hold that, or you can hold your other part of your bag and utilize the passive returns from the staking to kind of get your initials out over time. And then you're not seeing those massive dumps or sell-offs on the chart, right? It's kind of a way to combat those red candles. So yeah, that's kind of the reasoning behind for everybody listening. So you don't think I'm crazy.
No, that's it's important though, to know what project you are getting into and how it all works. So just knowing every little intricacy that runs that DEX and how it all works. But yeah, everything we've done is built for sustainability and provide that utility and of course rewards for the holders, because that's the main purpose of a DEX, is to reward the holders. So that's what we're going to do. And yeah, lots and lots of marketing down the track as well. Lots of building, lots of conversations with the dev, implementing fixes, nice to haves, make it look nice, just improving the site itself. So yeah, lots of work. It doesn't stop, it keeps going, and lots of sleep is lost, but you get over it because you're building a DEX.
I like that. And in terms of the additional features or additional revenue streams, you did touch on a couple of different things, whether it was the token listings. I know you mentioned potentially kind of going the route of a token launcher. You used the word launchpad, but I think more of like a token deployer is where I would see this one falling under the category of. So yeah, how would those additional sides or features continue to add to that like staking pool, that revenue pool that people would be able to draw into?
Yeah, so that would really come down to future partnerships as well. So, partnerships with other communities to, of course, list their token on our DEX. So it's a win-win for them to, be able to be listed on our DEX itself. The website itself, the landing page, is actually set up for creating tokens. I think it's like it's on I'm the only one that can do that, of course, by connecting the wallet up. So it's all set up for that. So in the future, yeah, if we do decide, of course, not right now because it's all about Falcon X, but definitely in the future, and yeah, through partnerships and of course listing more tokens, growing as a DEX. So of course you're going to have more volume because you're going to have other tokens, you're going to add to those tokens that are on the DEX, And that's definitely what it's all about. Just, yeah, getting extra volume, more listings, and of course, having that ability to do it yourself down the track.
Now, from a branding, a marketing perspective, you know, you guys kind of branded out same color scheme as Solana within your logo and a lot of the stuff that I've seen on your, you know, your white paper and whatnot. So how do you just continue to push the kind of the brand, like Falcon X is a name. And again, I wanted to touch on this at some point in the AMA. I guess I'll do it now. Falcon X is a name we've seen in the past in crypto, although it has been more geared towards the meme side. I think it was back in 2021, 2022, there was a larger Falcon X project kind of following the hype from Elon that did unfortunately get a stop order. So just kind of curious how from a naming or branding perspective, you guys work around that if potentially it comes to it, because I know it's happened in the past.
We have
why
well, just kind of say again.
I was gonna say, and like why the choice of name considering like that past
yeah. Well, look, it is a very, very strong name, but we have, I don't know, spoken about, of course, FALX DEX. So our ticker's FALX. So if, you know, we were to, it's a name, it's a brand, were to not, you know, say Falcon X, it's FALX DEX. Everyone knows it as FALX. If you go into Dex Tools, Dex Screener, you type in FALX, it's the first one. Falcon X might be a couple of other ones there, but wherever you go and you look for it, just FALX, and boom, it's right there. So yeah, in terms of, you know, why Falcon X, it's a strong name. The logo itself was actually designed by a community member. We had a competition. We took a long time to try and, you know, choose the right one, the right fit for our branding. Yeah, it was someone from the community actually made the token itself, the logo. We just brushed it up a little bit, but yeah, that's just involving the community, and that's what we've been doing from the start. Just involving the community, and the branding, the name, it actually came from the community as well. And yeah, I mean, if that was to happen, yeah, I mean, with the name, unless you got a trademark or whatever, but yeah, I mean, it's not hard. You know, FALX DEX, there's definitely ways that we can work around that.
Great answer. And if the need for a rebrand had to happen, you're already kind of, you know, you could transition the official name to more on the token ticker.
Without, you know, losing the meaning behind the project. Exactly. Yep.
Yeah, no, good answer. Just definitely something I had to touch on. Not super important, but it is, you know, something I wanted to cover. I had it on my checklist here. Another thing as well, this one's actually driven from a community question. This was from Karen, who was curious if you guys have maybe forecasted or set aside a plan to increase the number of stakers at a certain milestone for volume. So if you guys hit 5, yeah, I don't know, I like easy numbers. So if you guys have 5 million, would you considering opening up the number of stakers to say potentially 250, 200, 500, whatever it may be, so that more people can benefit? Yes, the incremental rewards would be lower, but there's more people benefiting. And again, it would have to be based on that kind of preset milestone, whatever it is internally.
Yeah. Well, we're not basing ours on emissions. So predominantly you do emissions with staking pools. This is actually measured off price. So it's not concerned with how many stakers that you do have. So there's no limit on the amount of stakers, if that makes sense. There's no locks. There's no limit to how many people can stake. If I got the question right.
So she was curious on the revenue, because it's only available for the top 100. That's what she was curious when I mentioned the 100, and if the 100 would expand to like 250 or 500 or whatever.
Sorry,
it's more on the revenue distribution side.
This is actually a question I've asked myself, you know, for the future of the project. So yeah, if the amount is super high and if you can afford to move it to the top 200, most definitely that's just proving that you're growing as a DEX. So yeah, definitely. Yeah, sorry to understand that question. Yeah, 100%. So that can then shift out to a higher number, of course, to match the amount that's coming in. Yes, yes is the answer to that one.
I apologize. I think I just misspoke on Karen's question there. And
No, that's
Karen, I
all right.
appreciate you asking about that. Now, another thing that I was curious about is bandwidth. Now, a lot of the times on some of these swaps or these DEXs, projects will give the ability for people to maybe set up nodes or benefit from a support standpoint. I don't know if you guys, because you mentioned liquidity pools and stuff like that coming to play in the future. I was curious to know how you guys would be running and building out your node protocol with holders. Is it going to be run via, like, will people who are the top stakers have the first dibs, for lack of a better term, to maybe run the nodes? What would that side of the equation look like as you guys are adding in more of the LP pools in the future?
In terms of, you said the word nodes?
Yeah, so I know like people could essentially, like, you can set up separate LPs or separate liquidity pools to run off of the DEX that it can draw from. But I am curious, like, if you guys are going to allow community members to like self-fund that via a node-based setup, or how exactly.
Yeah, we don't have nodes in our roadmap. We haven't considered anything to do with nodes. I don't like nodes myself. Yeah, we haven't done nodes, but yeah, definitely LPs and farms. So yeah, to answer that question, we're sticking to our roadmap. There was no mention of nodes in our roadmap, unfortunately. There is, of course, the Telegram bot integration, where, of course, it will be faster, to get a hold of tokens by using that, that bot itself. But yeah, as terms of nodes, just sticking to liquidity pools and, of course, farming. So yeah, the pools and farms.
Okay, and then yeah, for the integration of the Telegram bots, I did have a couple of questions from our community about that. The first of which was chain. Are you guys going to strictly focus on Solana when building out your Telegram bot, or are you going to make it available for users to access multi-chain? And this could kind of grow your reach a little bit from that perspective.
Yeah. Oh well, yeah. With of course the bot itself, it of course have the Falcon X token that will be integrated with that. So at this stage, not entirely sure what direction we'll take with what chains that we can do. But at the moment, of course, we're just focusing on Solana and just the launch of this DEX. Not getting our fingers into too many pies. Do something, be brilliant at it, and then move on to another chain once we do that. So definitely just focusing on this DEX, giving it everything that we have. Yeah, just making it successful and making sure we keep it successful. And yeah, doing everything we can in the space. But yeah, in terms of different chains, I've had this question a few times. It's like we want to be perfect at this first, and then we'll definitely look at other chains if we have that option and that's available to us, and if it's viable, like if it's going to be beneficial for the DEX, most definitely. But I'm not going to be promising something, over promise, under deliver. Yeah, stick to our roadmap and just do what we say we're going to do.
Yeah, and now within the bot, people are curious, like, with the types of features, if you guys are going to have like auto buying features, or if it's going to be one strictly to just have like a preloaded wallet and just skip a couple steps type of feel.
Yeah, look, this will be after the staking. Obviously it's got quarter 3 there, so this will kind of be a bit of a surprise. We do have a direction we want to take with it. Of course, like anything that we do, will be revenue share as well. We're going to introduce that as well, and that's as far as I'm going to go with that one. But yeah, there's a lot that we want to spring out onto the community and go, this is what we have. Boom, let's go. So kind of what we do with marketing is just full send.
The most common question I saw it 3 times within our group that sent to me is all about the AI integration. So it's stated a couple of times in the later part of your roadmap that AI integration within, I believe, both the DEX and the Telegram bot. But the community was just curious exactly what that will entail. Is it going to be more predictive, or is it going
Yeah, most definitely. It's on the roadmap. It's in Q4, so we can't deny it. AI, it's here whether we like it or not. So we definitely want to integrate AI into our DEX in some form. So to be totally transparent, of course, we don't know the full extent. So being fully transparent, we don't know the full extent of what that will entail, but we definitely know that we want AI integrated into our DEX. But what shape, what form that will take, it's early stages. So that's Q4. That's why it's right at the end of the roadmap. We can't deny it. We might not even be using Google one day. We'll be using some form of AI. It's there. Why not work with it rather than against it? So that's why it's there at the end of the roadmap itself, being fully honest.
Little aside, Google received their first grant from the NSA.
What was that?
A little aside, Google's founder way back in the day received one of their first grants from the NSA.
Yeah, wow.
I wonder why they're monitoring so much data. But yeah, that definitely makes sense. You can't rush rolling it out too early. You guys really have to kind of grow your market share first before you add in additional features. So yeah, makes sense. Now, we touched on. I'm just kind of going through my checklist here before. I guess we kind of touched on competitor analysis a little bit. But I was really hoping you could go into, you mentioned you didn't want to say anything negative about them, and that's fine. But I did, again, just want to go into what you guys see are the most common, negatives or pushback about the other DEXs, and that's kind of what led you to create it, because a lot of the times people don't know all the issues that exist. In the space.
Exactly. Well, being a user of these platforms myself, I've used all of them. I think Orca keeps shutting down on me. Radium definitely shuts down on me many times. You'll be on a page and it'll just error straight up. So yeah, it's a lack of maintenance and optimization, definitely. I actually have had, obviously, because we are using the Radium router for our DEX, but obviously with extra things to make sure that it is super fast. That my devs have read into the code for that, and have had to actually implement changes. So that to me straight away tells me, one, yes, my devs are awesome, our devs of the community. But yeah, just picking up on just code that hasn't been maintained on the development side and the Solidity side of the house. Yeah, that's definitely it's a gap in the market. If we can perform better, we maintain, we have optimization, we have that utility, and we're just bringing that into the space, then there is so much potential, that loads of potential and lots of market share right there. So yeah, that's definitely why while we're here, while we're in here, what we're doing. So we have passion and all those goals. That's why we're
All right, well,
here to happen.
we're only 10 days old to the token.
Yeah,
And I
I
always
know.
say I try not to get too far ahead of myself. You guys do have a little bit extended runtime going back to SolX. I mean, we can say
Yes.
that in terms of community building, growth, what you've put out there, marketing material, etc. But you're only 10 days old, right? So let's walk us through we'll go short time frame. What does the next month look like? Like, walk us through what you guys hope to happen. And obviously, best case scenario, between now and we'll say middle to late June. We're not even going to put too much stress on the time frame.
Yeah, of course. The main next thing that we do have, of course, is the launch of the staking. So yeah, that's the next big ticket item, is getting the staking audit back and then get staking out. So that's the next big ticket item. And with that, in good fashion, and of course what we always do is smash the marketing. So it'll be staking is available. There's also marketing going on. It's going to be crazy. People are going to be throwing things around. Just back it up with that. And then, of course, then continue the build for the DEX and just keep bringing that news out, keep marketing, keep trending, and build the next part of this actual DEX. So bring out that extra, pieces that are on the roadmap and, the user case on this DEX itself. So yeah, just heaps of marketing, Maurice. As you can, tell, we love our marketing. And that's exactly what we're doing. And the tokenomics it's just the way it's laid out allows us to do that. And you never underestimate marketing. So yeah, in terms of that, just doing the next things.
I was going to say, and then the flip side of that is, what would you ask either your community members or people that may hear about FALX for the first time in that, in the next couple of weeks? Maybe this is the first time hearing about it today. And, often I always advise our community, if it's not meme based, you have a little bit more time to really deep dive, join the community, do your research, and kind of run through those comparatives. So what would you ask for from the community or from people listening to you guys over that run, like over the next couple of weeks as you guys are preparing to roll out the staking? How can they best get involved, get active, and help to try and push FALX forward from their side?
Yeah, well, I mean, you don't have to be a massive influencer to have an effect. So we've seen it in the raids on over on Twitter. Just getting in. A lot of people have put out lots of memes. Just the community itself, the FalconX community, they're just next level. Like, just jumping into the chat, it's just going crazy. Of course, we've got the buy bots in there, but yeah, just the enthusiasm. Everyone's changed their premium emoji to the Falcon X token. You can just see that mass adoption happening. And yeah, I mean, what they can do is, they shill it to their mates. Hey, have you tried this DEX? Just that word of mouth. That's just the best thing, the best marketing you can get, pretty much. And yeah, just trying the DEX for the first time, how fast it is, what we have, in the future that's coming out. We always give marketing updates. We give chart updates. We've got Monopoly on the team, does all the marketing. And of course, we've got Albert as well. So we've got 3 of us that are in the core team, and then the devs. And then, of course, we have all the admins that, spend 14 hours or, more in the chats, making sure they attend to everyone's questions, keep the fight out as you do, and just being there to answer those questions. So new people join every single day. I think we're up to nearly 5,000 people in the Telegram. Just being there, answering those questions. I'm always in there as much as I can, even though my wife, gets a little bit, jealous that I'm on the phone all the time. I tell her it's for a reason. But yeah, just in terms of what they can do, there's so much you can do. Even if you're one person, you can just tell your friend, put it in. We have a competition, of course, at the moment on Twitter. It's a shill competition, and you can win. I think it was three SOL, 2 SOL, 1 SOL. That's the prizes, first, second, and third. So yeah, involving the community where we can.
I love it. And then in terms of, like, I don't like to speculate on usage, but you mentioned that you guys are up on your volume from FalconX days. So I just wanted to understand a little bit more about where you guys were on FalconX, and then what you guys have seen. I think you mentioned around 22.5 on this one that you've seen on the volume on a weekly basis, which is great. Or sorry, on the past one. So yeah, just kind of figuring out where you guys are at for volume, and then any types of percentage increases that you're hoping to like see from some of these spikes, staking coming out, etc.
Yeah. So
I don't know how to word
talking,
that question. Sorry, that was a little bit
no,
weird.
that's
I'm just
fine.
gonna go
If you're
some
talking,
of the things I wanted to cover before we close
fine.
out.
If we're talking volume, as in the volume in the token itself, I believe it was over. It was like 2 point something, maybe 2.3 million, and that's when we started CMC trending, because I believe you need 2 million. That's 2 million in volume in that 24-hour period, which we did have. So yeah, we did CMC trending, definitely. And in terms of volume, I mean, staking, of course, it's naturally will create more volume. So in terms of volume, that's you provide the utility, you're going to get that extra volume. So we don't plan to stay this small. Definitely going to progress and get tons more volume. By just doing what we say we're going to do. So, and of course, if we're better than our competitors, and we keep doing that, then it's definitely going to work for us in our favor.
No, I like it so far, and again, definitely seems like you guys have had a successful run. I think, what was it, like 2167 or 2367 that you guys raised successfully?
It was like 360K, I think. Yeah, the value. Here it is. Yep, 2,167. That's correct.
Oh, it was good. Yeah, I was correct with my first guess. Let's go. I wasn't sure if it was 23 or 21 when I said it.
Numbers guy, definitely.
Yeah, no, I have a weird memory. I always joke with my girlfriend.
Orangutans have good memories.
Yeah, I always joke with my girlfriend. That's why she can't win arguments, is because I don't forget stuff that she says even 5 years ago. Sometimes I just let her win, but that's just, you have to let the girls win, or no, nobody
100%.
But yeah, no, I think from what I wanted to cover off, I went through a lot of my initial points. I did want to spend like that first 15-20 minutes kind of doing more of a not a typical project breakdown, but more on the sector, kind of what you were hoping to achieve, some of the gaps that you saw, and I think you did a good job in those initial answers. I know it's still super early stages, very much in the infancy with regards to the actual utility. I mean, even the project, it's only 10 days old on the token side. So just make sure you guys keep that in mind. Join the community, just stay up to date, stay active. You heard Matt say how you guys as community members, as potential holders of the token, could add value as they're going about their scaling and their ramp up. So make sure you kind of get active if you like what you had to hear. If you're active and you're trading on Solana. I personally haven't been as active on Sol myself. I just haven't been trading a ton the last couple of months. But I am curious. So for those users who do a lot of trading on Sol, especially in our community, go check it out. I really would love to get some live feedback from the apes on the DEX and how it works, the speeds that you guys are seeing. So yeah, that's kind of like my call to action. If you are going to be doing some trading on Sol, maybe try new utility, try giving FALX a shot and see how it works. Always recommended. Sometimes if you're new with a utility, and this is any utility, regardless if it's like 500K or 500 million, if you don't know the team or if you're not familiar with the utility, just connect with a fresh wallet, test it out. No risk involved with that. And that's just, I think, a good kind of safety protocol, regardless of any project market cap. 500, it could be 2 billion. Just always keep yourself safe. So, yeah, really good answers. Still super early. Chart liquidity, very healthy. You guys have a 5-to-1 ratio, which at 8 million market cap isn't what we're used to. I think it's more or less than 1% is the liquidity ratio these memes have been going for these days. Super volatile. And if you're a big holder, you can't really get much out without nuking the chart. So it's definitely tough. I like that you guys have that ratio stronger. And yeah, just, good answers. Just give those guys here at FalconX, FALX time to build, time to scale the utility, get the staking live, and see what the type of returns are to the holders or to their stakers based on the volume. But if they're able to capture, a good chunk of volume on this chain that doesn't seem to be going away, it's definitely one to keep your eye on. So great job with your responses, Matt. I can, I know it's getting late. I think it's like almost 1:30 in the morning for you there. So I very much appreciate you taking the extra time and hanging with us. Great answers. Very likable guy in terms of your personality, very easy to talk to. So, appreciate it. And again, to you and the rest of your team over there in the community, I do have to apologize that it was a little bit delayed, with regards to the communication up front. As I said, we'll definitely make sure we make up for it on the back end. I'll put together maybe just for myself a fun little contest for our community to push some additional joins and views on the AMA video once it goes live, and do a little trivia about it. Maybe in an upcoming space.
I'll send my community over there, put a few comments and a few likes over there. Awesome.
So I'll in terms of the next steps, maybe I'll just give you a quick 30-second breakdown on what you can expect, what's to come after, Matt, just so that you can kind of keep your community following along and rating with us. So after the AIM wraps up, I'll send over the rough copy to yourself. I'll drop it in the group as well, so everybody has it. If you want to get that pinned in your community, that's cool. But I also drop it to our video editor. He goes back and just reformats anything if there's any issues in the sound. He chapter logs the AMAs so that people can kind of, if there's a specific topic they're looking to cover, they can search for it a little bit easier. It uploads it to our YouTube. And then from there, I'll kind of drop it over to you, because I sometimes like to typically get the tweet out before, but I do in like what Will would have sent you guys. It does say that if the tweet was unable to go out before, I'll put it out after, and it will just be linked to when the YouTube goes live. So to push people to actually listen to the AMA, because that's the whole point. And that's why we made the shift to YouTube, for like the recording and centralization and kind of post-marketing purposes. So I would say midday tomorrow. Our video guy is amazing. So he typically has it turned around pretty quick. I'd say mid to end of day tomorrow, you can expect the YouTube to go live. And then I'll drop the tweet tomorrow afternoon, kind of with that little contest and everything to push people back in to check it out, give your social to follow, and watch the AMA.
Sounds awesome, Maurice. Thank you.
But that's just, what's to come after the AMA. We'll chat in our group. We have a utility showcase with our partners at CoinMerge coming up. It's every Thursday. Now, I don't know if timing wise it'll work, because it's at 1 p.m. Eastern. So that may be stretching your day again. But if you even have a community member or somebody else that's maybe a little bit of an earlier time zone, you want them to jump in. It's not a full AMA, so like 5 to 10 minute. Well, I guess.
Is that over on the spaces?
Yeah, on Twitter with our partners at CoinMerge. So you'll have us, 4 other keynotes on the panel, like a couple of other projects. It's just really good cross exposure networking. That's all.
Yeah, let me know in a DM when that is. That I can definitely make that. That's fine.
Yeah, I'll talk to you guys about it right after the AMA, just to give you the time, and then the link with the official space where people can set their reminders comes out often one day prior. Sometimes like we try and push for 2. So I'm hoping it comes out Tuesday, but worst case, it'll be out Wednesday. So you guys get that full 24 hours to kind of share it around. The community will know. And we did make a change, and this will be the first week with the new format. So less projects, so 4 projects now, but each project instead of 6, and each project just gets a little bit more time. So it was very tough to break down utility in 5 to 10 minutes. So now we're doing about 15 plus 5 minutes for questions each. So still the hour, 20-minute space, but a little bit more intimate time with each project, which I think is going to be beneficial. So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Of course, we've got staking coming out, and we're going to be hitting Twitter hard. So we'll have 50 influencers that'll be doing Twitter raids, and then yeah, getting the community involved. It's going to be super crazy, especially with the 2 members on the team that are doing marketing. So watch this space. Yeah, things are going to get crazy. So
yeah. So
yeah, thanks so much.
My final call to action is just, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. If you maybe jumped in a little bit late, couldn't catch the full recording, as I mentioned, the YouTube will be uploaded by tomorrow. So you guys can go back onto our YouTube channel, find the AMA, go back, chapter log. So if you want any clarification on any specific topics we covered, you can find it easily. And then my last call to action would be to join their socials. So definitely, put a follow on their Twitter, but more importantly, as is the heart and soul of most communities, jump into their Telegram so you can keep up to date on the pinned messages, keep up to date on what's to come. And, as they release more details on their staking and everything else, like, you can hit some of those action items that Matt and I covered on how to add value, how to participate as a community member or a potential holder. So yeah, Matt, great work, great answers, very, very likable guy. I respect you kind of coming back to the table after, the unfortunate draining incident with the staking protocol. But again, I respect it. I'm hoping that, you guys can have a little bit more success this time. It seems like you have better pieces in place with regards to the team and security.
100%.
So yeah,
Yep.
Keep it up. Great work. I appreciate the
you.
time. And yeah, still in the early stages. So you got to give these guys time to build. Everything started from square one. That's the thing. No,
the ground up.
Yeah.
That's it.
Sometimes people just forget that, the project that's been running for 5 years ago wasn't what they are today. And everybody has to start somewhere. So just, give them time. Follow along, do your research, stay up to date. That's the best way that you can kind of have success in the space with any project. So great work, Matt. We'll talk in DMs about Thursday, but I'd love to get you guys in there for that extra exposure. And then we also have our spaces, but those are, I'm not going to commit to a time until probably early to mid-June, until my mom's stuff's just taken care of, because there's just too many moving pieces for those. So we will chat in mid-June, though, I'm sure, about our own space and getting you guys up as one of the featured guests. So yeah, lots of fun stuff coming up, man. I appreciate the time, and we can close out the official recording. I'll send you the rough copy to the group, and once the link comes out on Tuesday, Wednesday, I'll drop that in there as well, so the community can go in and set the reminders and come out and show some support.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Maurice. Thank you very much.